The majority of the funding in Ethiopia has gone through equity, yeah, and equity funding from the shareholders have always gone through hard currency, yeah. So it's not a problem. It's not necessarily a problem so far. So the year to date, September, we had about equity investment of $1.073 million. So $1.073 billion. That out of that 850 has been used for license. So beyond that, whatever has happened is all towards making payments of the dollar that they need to do for the foreign payments, right? So it's not an issue that we are dealing with now that we need to have access to dollar. We don't have access. We do have access to dollar because the money is coming from the shareholders. We do have very good vendor financing wherein we are not paying to our vendors up to certain months, up to certain years actually, which also allows us the cash flow. Yeah, yeah, there's a breathing space. Yeah, yeah, business gets geared up and then we start paying. And a very attractive interest rate. Third, what we are doing is ensuring that the payments that need to be done in local currency are sourced through local funding, which is the local banks.
To go back to some of the, with M-Pesa being what it is now, this massive juggernaut, I don't think anyone would have forecasted it would be this big when it was started a little over a decade ago. The move into wealth management, how will that play out? What sort of product offerings do you think you're bringing to the market?
Savings, wealth management, insurance are the three key elements of those the elements that we are talking about. So savings and wealth management is something that we have been actually working on for quite some time. You may have seen certain news articles around this over a long period of time that Safaricom is in this space and they have intention, but piloting this product. And you heard about something called Mali, but by the way, this will not be a product called Mali. This is not, that just happened to be the code name of the project that become Safaricom will launch Mali. No, that's the code name of the project. So what we have done on the background is we worked on the product, we worked on the solution, and also parallelly the partners were working on the approval because we needed to have approval.
So that's a bit that I find interesting because today in the presentation it was we've secured approval for getting into the wealth management space, but what's the thinking behind you as Safaricom getting into the wealth management business vis-a-vis just saying we've got M-Pesa, we've got this app that's fantastic, we've got about 30 million people who are using it, we're essentially the platform for it, can act as a sort of business to consumer marketplace. Let these other entities that have the unit trusts, the insurance products, let them then come onto the platform and market their services there.
We would still be a platform player. We would still be a platform player. We don't have a license to offer wealth management to customers, right? It's still be done by the wealth managers or firms or whatever you call them. They would be offering the services, right?
Why was approval then needed, right? For Safaricom to say, yeah, we're going into this space. Why did CMA have to give you the green light? Because you're not taking on any of the risk, right, on your balance sheet. You're simply acting as a facilitator, for lack of a better word. So why was the approval needed?
Two things. I think the CMA regulation requires not us to take the approval, but the provider of that services to take an approval. So that's what, it's not us. So when we say we secured regulatory approval, now to allow us to platform to be used for providing those services. Yeah. So that's the green light that we are waiting for. We had the green light from CMA for long. It is the green light from central bank, which is what we have received recently.
M-Pesa in Ethiopia. I know there have been discussions around getting that into the market. Are we any closer to figuring out when you can start rolling that out?
That's what we always avoided giving you a time, because if I give you a date, then I'm committing a date. But I think in terms of hurdles, what hurdles that we needed to cross before we come to a actually launched is there are two parts. One is the regulatory part, the government, unlocking whatever challenges they have. So there was this policy approval which is required now, which is with Parliament. But from a government side, their intention, you saw that announcement that they said that they have already decided to give a license to Safaricom. It was announced in a platform on the day of the launch, commercial launch. So we don't see that as a challenge that will come through. So that's one part. Now the other part is that having a license doesn't take, give you anything. We need to now execute it. That's what you're preparing on the background, making sure that the day we get the license and the day we are able to launch, that period is the least, because we are going ahead as if we will have a license some point in time.